Hi everyone, this is Prashant Chaudhary. I welcome you all to my channel Classic Power App. This is the part 2 of Google Solar integration with Power App. In the last part, we have created a project into the Google, then we generated a key, we enabled that particular key, or maybe we have enabled the Google Solar API into our project, then we created a flow, we have created our app, and then we called that flow from our app. So now let's go forward. So I'm just taking to my screen. So here you can see on this get button, I'm calling my PowerPoint flow and passing latitude and longitude values. Okay, and my flow is fully ready. Let's try to save this and call this flow from my app. We will do the we will take the baby steps, okay, because it would be easy to design the further steps accordingly. So let's try to call this one. I hit on this get. So this time this should have triggered my flow. Let's go back and check if this has created a log or not. Because as we have hit a HTTP request, it should have some response. Okay. For the simplicity, I'm not going to like I already have one response here. Let's see what we have in the response. Content not shown due to this one. Okay. And then can you see we have got some response. So it has given us DMS URL, RGB URL, mask URL, annual flex URLs. These are the things that we would need. And this would be the TIFF files. Okay. TIFF files won't work directly inside the Power App. So our aim is to first get these TIFF files, convert them into the GPG, and then showing them inside the Power App. Okay. These TIFF files are not exactly the TIFF file. Actually, it's a link. Okay, so you need to do one more HTTP call. So what I'll do, I simply control A, control C, because we need to parse this particular response so that we can fetch each parameters separately. Okay, I have copied this one, control A, control C, edit this because I need to access each and every response. Okay, so I'll use parse JSON, generate from sample, paste it here, done, and my content would be the body of my http, my last action. Okay, now as you have seen, we have got two type of like we have got multiple parameters, dm dsm url rgb url mask url. These are the type of the images. Okay, so for the simplicity I'm going to use only these two, the dms url and the rgb urls. Okay, so what I need to do, I need to again use the http because the response are nothing just the URLs. Okay, so again do this HTTP call, type of get URL type. So here I'm passing my, let's say I'm passing RGB. Okay, and then I use and key equals to key would be my solar API key. That's the way you can utilize the HTTPs or the response that you are getting from your get building insights, or the endpoint that we are using here is the data layers. Okay, so you get this RGB URL, you need to attach this with the key so that you will get the actual TIFF file of your result. Okay, now what I'll do, I just add one more. Let's say add a parallel branch, and this time I'm again doing the HTTP because I'm just utilizing only two output, okay, RGB and the DMS URL. So I can do the get request. This time I'm using the DSM URL and key equals to my solar panel solar API key. Okay, now I need to get once I get the response, I need to store it somewhere. So I'm using creating a file, create file, where I'm just creating that file. I have a folder which is Google Solar Integration into my OneDrive. Okay, there is a reason why I have used OneDrive. Okay, I'll just tell you later. And go back and then root Google Solar Integration. Okay, now as this one is my RGB URL, so what I'll do, I use RGB URL underscore. For the uniqueness, I am using UTC now function underscore picture dot tiff, because once we get that those URLs, those URLs would return us a tiff file. Okay, now I'll just copy this and then paste it to this. My file content would be my response of my HTTP2, my body. Okay, now I just copy this. I do the same for my this action, but this time this would be my DMS URL. Okay, because I have used DSM. So I'll say DSM URL, and then this time my body would be my HTTP3 body. HTTP3. Okay, if I hit, if I trigger this particular flow now, right now it would create a file into my OneDrive folders. Let's see what is happening here. Okay, so we'll just save this particular flow. Okay, and once it gets saved, let's try to run from here. No, not from here, but from the Power App. Let's try to refresh so that it would take the connections, because we have added one more connection into our flow, that is our OneDrive connection now. So it's better to refresh our flow. Okay, so okay, now let's try to call. So it has called. Now we just open this OneDrive and then see if we get the files or not. We can also check our Power Automate log whether it has run or not. But first, let's check in the OneDrive. If we get the file, it means our flow has run successfully. Okay, so it's loading. No problem. Not sure whether it's the internet issue or the server issue, but yeah, it's loading. It one more time, or in the meantime, we can check it from the Power Automate side whether it has even triggered successfully or not. See, okay. So in the OneDrive, we can see we have two images now. Okay, so it means one data layer has reverted us some URLs, then we use those URLs to get the DASM or RGB URL pictures. Okay, both are of type TIFF, and Power App won't support TIFF files for now at least. Okay, the reason if I am saying you, if I just copy this, copy the path and paste it to my Power App screen, let's say I have a picture here. This is nothing, just my picture. Okay, can you see image 2? And if I just say this to be pasting the URL of my picture, it won't show because it need the JPG file. So now we got, wait a second guys. Okay, so here we are back. So here we can see that we have got the TIFF files now. Okay, so now the thing is like Power, since Power won't accept the TIFF file, we need to convert those TIFF file into the JPG. Okay, so there are many approaches to convert these TIFF files into JPG. So the approach which I'm going to use is inside my Power Automate. Where is my Power Automate? Yeah, that's the one. There is an action on the OneDrive, okay, which we can use and change the type of a file into another. Okay, let's say we say it as a convert file. Convert file. Let's say file using path, and my path is my just created file through my last action. Path. Target type would be JPG, and this time I'm creating a file into my SharePoint folder. So I say create file, where I want to create the file. There is a site which I don't normally use. A folder path would be, let's say, I have a file, look, Google Solar. That's my folder. Here you can see. Right now, my this folder is totally blank. Okay, so I'm going to use going to create the file here. File name, let's say RGB. RGB for the uniqueness. I'm going to use UTC now and dot JPG, and the file content would be from my last step. Okay, from converted file. Same I'm going to do on the another side. Okay, I'm just doing it, actually I'm just pausing my video so that I can at least cover these steps. Okay, so that we can cover all things in this part 2 itself. Okay, so I have created the same things here, a path from my HTTP from the create file 2 and converting them into a JPG, then creating a file into my same folder with the DMS name now. And if you want to see, my folder is totally blank for now. Now let's go back to the Power App. I already refreshed my flow. Okay, and this is my grid. Okay, this grid is connected already with my SharePoint folder. So let's say I'm removing these things for now, and then okay, I'm uncommenting this because this particular grid is connected to my Google Solar, that is my SharePoint folder. Okay, now let's try to run this flow one more time. Get this. So it should have triggered my flow. Sometimes the thing is like when the file is created to the OneDrive, the converting the file properties from TIFF to JPG might take some time. Okay, because of that, I haven't added the action in order to respond to my Power App. And there is a button that I added that is refresh files. It is refreshing the files which is present inside my SharePoint folder. Okay, let's try now. I haven't created this file now. Let me go to the SharePoint and refresh it here. It's not created yet. If I go to my flow, I can show you that it would take some time, definitely. So I'm just checking my logs. Okay, so here you can see it is still running. Okay, so let it run completely. So it's still running. Yeah, it has done. Now, if I come back to my app, I hit on the refresh. I can see I have one file. I have